Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, produced by South Carolina State University Public Service and Agriculture. Elevate highlights the research, extension work, and leadership shaping communities across South Carolina and beyond. Get ready for a dynamic conversation filled with lessons, inspiration, and strategies to help elevate your impact and advance your community.
Welcome to a new season of Elevate Podcast. I'm your host, Liz Mosley Hawkins, and I am so pleased that you decided to join us for another episode of our podcast where we talk to transformative leaders and just everyday people who are excited and willing to share with us their journeys and experiences that helped shape who they are and ultimately elevate their life. So today I am super excited. We're actually in New Orleans baby, and we are attending the 2026 Association of Research Directors Symposium. And this is a time where the 1890 HBCUs get together and celebrate the innovation and research scholarship of our faculty as well as our students. And so today we have joining us Dr. Felecia Nave, who serves as the CEO and president of the 1890 Foundation. Now, Dr. Nave has over 20 years of experience in higher education, serving as an advocate for higher education. She served as president for Alcorn State University, where she also earned her bachelor's degree in chemistry. She also worked at Prairie View A&M as well as North Carolina Central University. But Dr. Nave actually began her start as a chemical engineer with Procter & Gamble. So I am excited today to welcome Dr. Felecia Nave. Welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be here with you.
Good, good. So I heard that this is your first time attending the ARD Symposium. Is that true?
Unfortunately, it is, and I'm ashamed to say that, being that I served as the provost at Prairie View in the College of Ag, reported to the provost office, and also as president of Alcorn, which are both 1890 land grant institutions. So it's a shame that I hadn't gotten to the conference before, but I promise you there were plenty Alcornites and Panthers roaming around during my tenure.
And Prairie View, so you said you worked at Prairie View. Now they took a lot of wins home this weekend. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
You know, first, I'm excited for all of our students.
Right.
It is totally awesome and amazing, the research, the innovation that they're all being engaged with, working with faculty, working out in corporate America, at our various USDA and agricultural agencies. But to Prairie View specific, of course, Prairie View is very special to me. Their president, Tamiko LeGrand, is an exceptional leader, so I know she's very proud of her students, and I equally am proud for their accomplishments this week.
Very good. So I want to kind of talk a little bit. I mentioned in your intro that you began as a chemical engineer, and I'm always interested in finding out how someone was led to a particular career. So in your childhood or your formative years, do you recall an experience that kind of piqued your interest and sparked your interest in becoming a chemist?
Unfortunately, it was not as planned.
Okay.
A light bulb moment is that. As a kid, I always enjoyed math and science.
Okay.
And so as so many students today and previously, when it's time to go to college, you really don't always know what you want to major in.
That's true.
I ended up choosing engineering because my mother's TV broke.
Oh.
And she was in the National Guard, and her National Guard colleague was an electrical engineer.
Oh, wow.
So he said, and my mom, of course, as moms do, they're always talking about their children. She said, I'm the brightest kid in the jar, and she loves math and science. So he suggested that I look at majoring in electrical engineering.
Oh, nice.
And I did, but I went to Alcorn, which does not have an engineering program, but
Okay.
have relationships and partnerships. But I took that circuit analysis class, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, nope. Electrical's not for me. And a mentor of mine at Alcorn was the chemistry professor.
Oh, nice.
So that's how I transitioned over into chemical engineering. So nothing sexy.
Uh-huh.
It was happenstance.
Yeah.
But it was the journey that I ended up on that evidently was the purpose I was supposed to play out in life.
Now, what you said your mentor kind of veered you towards chemistry, and I think that's one of the interesting or one of the key things that people say about HBCUs is that the experiences are always nurturing because you do have faculty and staff who are like your auntie or your uncle, you know, bring you alongside and make sure you're going to class. So what was it about that mentor that helped guide you ultimately to that career?
Absolutely. His name was Troy Stewart. He was a chemistry professor and also an Alcorn graduate who came back to give back to his alma mater and serve as the professor there. He was extremely instrumental in my professional development, my academic development. He was that professor that when I wasn't somewhere I was supposed to be, I probably stayed out a little longer the night before
Played
than
too
I
many
was.
spade games.
That next day in class, he let me know
Uh-huh.
that he knew
That's right.
and that I needed to kind of think about some of my decisions and choices. But most importantly, he connected me to internships, not by telling me they were there, but by driving me there. The first time I flew on a plane was because he connected 8 of us to the University of Indiana University, Purdue University at Indianapolis for a summer research experience. This was when they were first getting started. So he drove us in a van to Indiana from Mississippi. Not nice. Not nice. 8 people packed in there with suitcases. But he was like, I'm not coming back to get you. You all are going to have to fly on a plane. So he poured into us in very genuine ways. He became the surrogate parent for our parents at home, and he made sure that our paths were not just on the right trajectory, but they were filled with experiences that were going to ensure our success when we got there.
Awesome. And so you are the CEO and president of the 1890 Foundation.
Yes.
And the foundation is also a sponsor
Yes.
of the ARD Symposium.
Yes.
So, and thank you so much for supporting the ARD. Tell us a little bit, our audience, what is the 1890 Foundation?
Yes, so the 1890 Foundation serves as, I call it an umbrella entity that supports the work and magnifies the work that takes place across our 19 HBCUs. So we are the connector to make sure that our institutions are connected one to another. We are the facilitator to facilitate partnerships, relationships, and opportunity. We look to elevate the visibility of our institutions. And we also look to make sure that we are, in addition to the work that they're doing, identifying resources that will be important, that are important for them to be able to carry out in a deeper way, in a more innovative way, the work that they do. So we are here, our sole purpose exists to support the 19 institutions and ensure that they are their best selves and they have the resources, the access, and the visibility that they deserve, because we're not just a part of the American story. We are the American story.
That's right. I love that. So we all know that we are in a time of our history where the legacy of HBCUs are being threatened. Can you talk to me about the importance of HBCUs and what we contribute to the fabric of this nation?
Oh, I mean,
I know it's a lot, you know. I know it's a lot.
Oh, I mean, when you look at the agriculturalists, the scientists, the lawyers, the engineers, the judges, many of those individuals have come through and come out of, are products of HBCUs. Over 25% of all STEM degrees come from HBCUs. So we're constantly overproducing, hitting above our weight class when it comes to the innovation and the work that we do. As I mentioned earlier, we are not just a part of the conversation in many of these new areas of technology, advancement, innovation. We're leaders. We're leading the pack. We are the ones that are conducting the research. We are the ones that are inventing the new technology, new techniques. So I understand the conversation, but I don't buy into it. I'm someone who likes to believe in finding the opportunity and figuring out to elevate off of where the opportunities are. There are always going to be obstacles. There are always going to be barriers. There are always going to be naysayers. But if we don't allow that to penetrate our souls and penetrate the work that we do, but to continue to find ways to make it happen, because that's who we are.
That's right.
That's how we've always made sure that we have what we need and we're able to be bigger than what people think.
That's right. I love that. So in terms of, you said the foundation helps identify resources. What are some of the resources that you all are working on to help advance 1890s?
Oh, absolutely. So we're constantly looking for corporate partners. I'd be remiss to say USDA has been a long-standing contributor and partner with the 1890 Foundation, but more specifically with our institutions individually. We're grateful for all of the resources that Congress has passed in the various appropriation bills. And so we continue to look for those corporate partners. And in this day and age, and with resources not being what they used to be, we're looking to be more strategic and intentional. So where our assets are and how they line up with the John Deeres of the world, with the Cargills of the world, to make sure that they understand the work that's taking place on our institutions and bring those in. Just last night, it's a historic moment for the ARD. There were 14 of our presidents at the universities that were here to witness and be a part of the activities that were taking place. Well, that evening, we dined with Honeywell, who was able to not only support our activities, but who also were able to talk about some of the innovations that was taking place in their organization that could benefit our institutions. So that's just one example of how we use our corporate partners. One of my favorite activities that the foundation sponsors is funded by the Natural Resource and Conservation Service, NRCS, which is our career development conference, where we bring students in from all 19 institutions. It's typically in Atlanta. We do it twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. We, about 6 weeks ago, just had our spring session where we had 14 of the 19 institutions represented with over 150 students. But over its 10-year history, a little over 10-year history, it's touched over 1,000 students. So it's just amazing the work that we get to do and the people we get to bring to the table who continue to pour in and see the importance and significance of the work we do and to support our students' futures.
So now what are some of the things that, and I know that each HBCU has its own unique set of challenges, right? But just as a system, in being able to further help the work that the foundation is doing, what are maybe 2 things that universities can do to help advance the work of the foundation, and as you said, help elevate the presence and awareness of HBCUs, specifically 1890s?
Yes. So 2 of the areas that we had very robust discussion on yesterday is deferred maintenance.
That's a big...
It's a big deal across many of our campuses are aged.
Yes.
And they need a little tender loving care.
Absolutely.
So the Honeywell discussion was very timely. Okay. But they're aged, and in addition to the deferred maintenance, they may not have the newest technologies in them, which is a challenge. And the second one I would say is infrastructure, both physical infrastructure, technological infrastructure, and human infrastructure.
Yes,
a lot about how we do things has changed.
Yes.
And so even, having the talent who has the skills to have the operations and the innovation that take place on our campus is so critically important. And so infrastructure in that ways, and then the research infrastructure, so that our labs looks like the 1862 labs and better, because our researchers are doing extraordinary research with what they have, but just think about how much more they could accomplish if they had some of these more advanced tools.
And it also benefits the students, because if they're able to use the same type of equipment, if we're wanting them to go to PWIs for research, or even, our
graduate
1890
school.
Graduate school, we want to make sure that they have that experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. The applied experience, being able to engage in work that allows you to apply what you're learning in your classrooms in a textbook, makes the learning deeper and more rich for our students. So the more opportunities that we can do, the better. I mean, it may seem just that you're solving a research problem, but it's the skills that you're picking up, the problem solving, the critical thinking skills, the dexterity in your hands is so critical to making sure that our students are, they have all the tools that they need, because life is going to show them, as it shows us all, it's going to show you many different takes.
Yes.
And the career path that you start on, you may have to pivot and do something else. So making sure you understand that all of your skills are translational, and how you apply those as your career twists and turns on your journey of life.
Yeah, so let's stay there for a while. The twists and turns that our career paths takes us. So you started out in chemistry, and then you ended up in higher ed. So how did that transition happen?
Yes, so chemistry undergrad, chemical engineering graduate from the University of Toledo in Ohio.
Yes.
So as I was trying to figure out, because I'm a planner, so 2 to 3 years before I get out, I was like, okay, how are you going to make sure you're prepared for what your next is going to be? And so that's when I think I was at a NSBE conference.
Okay.
Procter & Gamble was there. They normally do undergraduate interns only, but I talked myself up on a graduate student internship. So
nice.
I went to Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati and worked in their R&D, and I worked on deodorant. So
really?
I always like to say, when I tell my story, I was like, okay, no, this isn't it. So I'm going to work on deodorant as my life career. And deodorant is necessary. I got some on today. But do I want on my tombstone, she made great deodorant? I was like, no.
We thank you for that.
Right. So it was at that moment I recognized that, and to be honest, between that and just being there alone, there was really no one, or very few, who looked like me, and that was not the environment that I wanted to start and pursue my career.
Yeah. So when you worked in higher education, and you talked about Dr. Stewart, was there ever a moment where you thought to yourself, I'm Dr. Stewart now. And in that moment, what did you think?
So absolutely. So when I came back, I immediately started working with colleagues to create summer programs, create access opportunities, to share information and awareness about engineering and about computer science and about STEM in general. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm doing the same thing he's doing, picking students up, braiding kids' hair during the summer, taking them to the emergency room, and they get bit by spiders. Like, boy, go sit down somewhere. So yes, but also from a professional standpoint, Dr. Stewart, he eventually rose to the position of department chair. And so I really only saw my career going maybe as far as dean.
Okay.
I was going to, and in the beginning, I was just going to be a faculty member, teach my 25 years and go home and sit on my porch. But that's not how life turned out. So not only in helping the students, but also in my career, I thought I was just going to be him. I was going to be that faculty member that just helped students and put them on their way.
Yeah.
But life gave me something different.
Wow.
And so here I am.
Here you are, and higher education and STEM, of course, are male-dominated fields. We're on the tail end of Women's History Month. So I'm sure you have a lot of stories of experiences, working in, heavily male-dominated fields. What were some of the barriers that you experienced as a woman, and maybe we can add in there as a minority, a double threat. What were some barriers that you experienced, and how did you step into your power?
Growing up, I never saw it as a barrier, because in our town, in our community, women rocked. In my class, our top 10 were all women, 9 women and 1 male.
Okay.
So I didn't grow up in a situation, or at least I was blinded,
Okay.
where women were not at the top of their game. Even going to Alcorn, our whole chemistry department was primarily women.
Oh, wow.
And I was a young student, so I didn't really pay attention to the fact
Okay.
that the administration was all male, because it didn't really impact me on my day-to-day basis. And the students that were performing at the top were women. It wasn't until I got to graduate school that I began to kind of feel in my daily experience more of the barriers. So leaving Alcorn, and first going to the University of Arkansas and then to the University of Toledo, and being the only African American and the only African American female in Arkansas, pretty much all Caucasian in class. In Toledo, you had greater diversity, but that diversity were international students.
Yes.
So it was white students and international students, and then me. Your classmates, I'd always been highly respected for my intelligence. It was the first time that I had, I wasn't treated that way. It wasn't assumed that I was smart. It was actually the opposite.
Wow.
And so I felt like my learning experience was compromised, because in order to maintain positive relationships with my peers, I couldn't be in their study groups because they were disrespectful.
Oh, wow.
And not belligerent disrespectful, but it's things like, if you're given problem sets, you solve the problems, then your answers can't possibly be right. So they sit there and they pull those apart. Or when groups are being set up, nobody wants you in their group. So that was a little different for me, and it created anxiety, and I cried a lot. But it was my mentors and my family was like, girl, if you don't get over that and move on. So I created my own support system and network in order to help me get through that experience. Then I went to a black college, Prairie View, to be a faculty member. And that's probably when I really start to feel more of the sexism that exists. And I was young. And so some of your colleagues were not as respectful as they should have been. They were dismissive of your ideas and different things. And I've got married right out of undergraduate, so I had a family. So it was like, well, you can go home and take care of your children.
Okay.
Whatever, that's what I got a husband for. So, but I have a personality, and even then advancing into being a provost and being a president, it can be hard for people to have to hear and take direction from a woman. You can choose to dwell on that. I don't. I look at it, that's their problem. I know what my purpose is, what path and the things that I want to accomplish. And that's where I choose to spend my time and focus. I'm not ignorant or oblivious to the challenges that we face, and they are many. But at the same time, I try not to dwell on those things either. And that's what I tell people who I mentor, young ladies I mentor. I'm like, you got this.
You got this.
That's right.
So, Dr. Nave, I'm going to wrap up our conversation. I really enjoyed it. Your career is extensive, and you've accomplished so many things. What do you hope to accomplish before you do decide to actually, because you retired, didn't you? And then you came back out of retirement?
No, I took a minute.
Okay, you took a minute. Okay.
But I took a minute, and then I went and worked at the National Science Foundation, which was a wonderful experience. And then the earth cracked and the landscape shifted.
And led you to the 1890 Foundation.
Yes.
So what are some of the things you want to accomplish before you do have the opportunity to sit on your porch and sip some sweet tea?
Well, I think I want to see our schools, the visibility elevated, greater recognition and respect for the tremendous amount of work that takes place. I want to see more of our students with PhDs. I would greatly like to see more of our students return and become that next generation of faculty.
That is very
at our
much needed.
institutions.
Yes.
And I would like to see greater parity in how we're funded and how we're supported in carrying out our missions.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Nave, do you want to give us the web address for the 1890 Foundation, and also if anybody is interested in making contributions towards the 1890 Foundation to help our HBCUs?
Absolutely. So our website is www.1890foundation.org.
Okay.
You can reach us. We're also on LinkedIn and Facebook. And there is a donate button on our website, and we would greatly appreciate contributing to our foundation, which ultimately contributes to the work that takes place at our 19 institutions.
Thank you. Dr. Nave, thank you so much. I know we're here again, as we said, at the ARD Symposium, and I know everybody's pulling you, wanting to spend some time with you and talk to you about ways in which the foundation can assist maybe their individual university or just the system in general. But I do want to thank you for taking time to speak with us and to share your insight and leadership. And everybody talks about being unbothered, right? Like just being unbothered, but clearly having that type of disposition has helped you get to where you are and be the transformative leader that you are. So thank you so much, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, and thank you all for pulling me over to be a part of the podcast. I've had a great time walking down memory lane, but more importantly, talking about the great things that are taking place on our campuses and ways that we continue to elevate the work, to elevate our success, and to elevate our students and what they're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Elevate Podcast. Our guest today was Dr. Felecia Nave, CEO and President of 1890 Foundation, and she talked to us about the importance of maintaining the legacy of 1890 institutions, as well as shared with us her story of how she grew up at an 1890 institution, Alcorn State University. And so we're so delighted that she took the time to speak with us today. Please watch us for another episode of Elevate Podcast. You can also stay connected to us on our socials at SC State 1890. Until next time.